is Zennial Gamer, and today we're going to be talking about dungeon theory crafting. Before you freak out about the 3 voids on this team, that is not what I'm going to be showcasing. It's not about showcasing the team. If you guys don't know me yet, I was an endgame player in Summoner's War. My channel is known for strategy guides, and that is something, we have some amazing content creators for Raid, but it's something I have not really seen much, are actual strategy guides. So today we're going to be talking about Shogun, and we're going to be talking about how do you beat Shogun if you don't have Sigfriend, you don't have something that does amazing billions of damage, and how do you manipulate the AI, especially, I'm 100 days in now, I've spent quite a bit on the game, so I am not like a free-to-play, right? But I'm still only 100 days in. I'm behind where the vast majority of people are, despite that. So, how have I gotten down? This is about a 98% team. How have I gotten down to beat Shogun 25? This team I had built probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. So at, whatever, day 70. Well, it's because I went through, I read each of the boss's skills. Now, this is something, I imagine it intimidates a lot of people in Raid that there is so much text. And at the same time, it's amazing, man. I have played a lot of gacha games, and I've never seen a game that was so detailed on the mechanics. And for somebody who is OCD like me, love the detail. So, what is the most important thing that I took out of reading this boss's mechanic? Well, it is right here on Wraith Javelin. Attacks one enemy, will prioritize attacking enemies under an enfeeble buff. Now, how do we get to the enfeeble buff? Well, down here, what we'll see under the how it works section is, as a debuff, enfeeble makes it so that enemies only land weak hits, blah, blah, blah. The boss will focus on disabling your champion with the highest crit damage, prioritizing champions not under stone skin buffs. So this gives us 2 things that we know right here. First of all, this Wraith Javelin, this is a single target skill, which is going to target the champion with the highest crit damage. That champion will get enfeebled. And then the boss has his shade counter, which he gets, without reading all this stuff, he gets progressively stronger as the shade counter goes up. And to bring the shade counter down, we need awakened champions hitting the boss. Now, when I built this team, I had lower souls. I've gotten lucky, and I've gotten my champions in this team now have higher souls. I also switched out 1 or 2 champions because they got higher souls, but not the point. Point is, I had like a bunch of 2-star, 1-star souls when I started this team, which meant I couldn't bring the shade counter down very fast, which meant I had to control the shade counter from going up. So how did I do that? Well, I don't have one of those champions that has passive revive. I don't have Duchess. I don't have a lot of different champions that are actually better than Claydna, who may be a void, but if you go look at almost any review of her, she's not a highly rated void, but she's what I've got. And so, if we look at this skill right here, removes all debuffs from all allies, places a block debuffs buff, and a revive on death. Now, this boss, Shogun, does have a strip, but not on the same skill as the enfeeble. So, how do we manipulate the AI? Well, if we come in here to total stats, let's take a look at the build on my pure support champion, Claydna. I'm at 54,000 HP. I'm at 2,400 defense. I don't know the effective HP off the top of my head. I'm sure the optimizer would tell me, but whatever. This amount of HP and defense is not exactly, it's in the range of what I need for the boss to hit me once, enfeeble me, and then kill me on the second hit. Now, if for some reason the boss does not kill me, let's take a look at my second skill. It places decreased speed and leech. Awesome things to place on the boss. Also, does not attack. So I'm not going to increase the shade counter because I'm not attacking. What about this skill? Does not attack. So I've got the champion with the highest crit damage on my team, eating the enfeeble buff, hopefully dying on the boss's second hit, so that there's not even an enfeeble buff. She also happens to do cleanse and revive on death, because my whole team is going to get smacked at some point, right? And she doesn't hit on 2 of her attacks. So the passive here also does come into play on occasion. Sometimes, honestly, in a bad way. So this chance of completely blocking damage means that she doesn't always die when I want her to die. Even so, what's going to happen is the boss is going to attack her first, and it's going to leave all my damage dealers alone. So what do I have Annie here in? Well, Annie, once again, void champion, but this is because I'm working on a limited box. Let me go show you guys the AI setup, because I will tell you, AI setup in Raid, it is amazing. It is powerful, and it is so important. AI setup and tuning are so important. So I don't have the ability to run everything at 260 to 290 speed, which is what you see a lot of the content creators on the rare occasions that they post a team. It's what you see them run it at. I can run some things. My Senna's at 301, right? I've been farming quite a bit, but I can't run everything, and I can't run every single dungeon at 260 cores. So my He-Man's at 216, my Annie's at 240, Athorian 224, and Clydna at 240. Anyway, Annie, take a look at her AI right here. I am not using the skill 2 with the attack buff. Why not? I mean, why wouldn't you want a big damage dealer getting attack buffed, right? Well, because it's on a 2-turn cooldown. And Annie here is my defense breaker. She is the one that is setting up He-Man for all his hits and setting up Athorian for his S1. So I want Annie going with her S1 as often as she can. Now, because the boss doesn't cleanse on every skill, he just cleanses sometimes, I am okay with letting Annie throw in the occasional S3 because it's on a longer 4-turn cooldown. At times I have also run this with don't use this skill. It works both ways, but I feel like it is just a hair faster on average when I cycle in the S3, so I've tested it both ways. You also notice that I've got Annie opening with her S1, so we're landing defense break first. Now, again, the Senna's going to go first and boost everybody up because my whole team is slower than the boss. Once again, Void Legendary. Yeah, Senna's freaking OP, guys. So while Clydna might not actually be that great, and Annie is pretty good, but the way I'm using her, she's just a champion with an S1 defense break. I'm using her because she has 100% activation on the S1 defense break. I'm using her because I have a limited box, basically. If I had He-Man in a 9-piece Merciless set, I don't need defense break, and then I could make a much better team. But I don't have that. So point again being, don't be intimidated by the fact that these are voids. All you really need from Annie is a monster that defense breaks, or if you've got better gear, put He-Man in a 9-piece Merciless or 9-piece Slayer or whatever and get more damage out of it. Now, Athorian, his damage is going to be capped regardless because he does boss scaling damage. That's great for this team that I have set up here. Once again, somewhat replaceable. He's not doing like the most damage ever because he can't do more than 20% of the boss's damage. But what I have done is I've put him in a Relentless set. So between the fact that he self-cycles and then of course I've got all his masteries set to give him a chance to reduce cooldowns, he can sometimes just go off. But you can do that with pretty much any champion that does boss scaling damage. Obviously something like Marius is going to be way better than Athorian. Anyway, Athorian is replaceable with basically anything that does damage. He-Man is replaceable with anything that does damage. It's just the best damage dealer I personally have. There are way better ones. There's, the Acrixias, and there's so many champions I don't have, right? Siegfried, obviously, if you have Siegfried, you're not watching this video because you're already doing a 30-second run, or excuse me, a 3-second run. But anyway, so that's the breakdown. Let's take a look at how this works, and we're going to see from here, obviously, the boss is still going to go in front of my Senna. Senna's going to boost, and then, of course, my Clydna is enfeebled. Wait, why did she go S1 first? Well, it has to do with the timing of the revive on death and with the timing of the boss's strip. So my Senna is only in a 6-piece protection set right now because I don't have a protection ring at all of any rank for Dwarf. So here we go. Now, everything is programmed so that Clydna has her AI still going. So she goes with S1, her cooldown still going. So she goes with the S1 so that right here, she is going to be able to cleanse everybody if any debuffs have gotten out, and of course put up the revive on death. We get to heal everything again, and then we go into the boss. Again, we're consistently putting up that defense break with the Annie S1 to set up the damage from He-Man. Athorian does not actually need it. He'll do 20% to the boss either way. His S1 doesn't really do that much damage. It's like 30-40k, I think, with the defense break. So it doesn't really change anything, whereas you're getting 500k off that S2. But there you go, guys. That is a 58-second run. Best time is 31 seconds. You guys saw the stats. I don't have bad artifacts, but I definitely don't have amazing OP artifacts. I don't have 9-set Merciless. I don't even have a 9-set Protection on the Senna. I'm getting outsped by the freaking boss. What I am doing is manipulating the boss's AI so that with the champions that I have, I am able to get consistent sub 1 minute run that is passing 97-98% of the time. Might be a little bit higher now. 97-98 earlier on when I didn't have high souls on all these champions. Now that I've got higher souls, I think it might have stabilized closer to 100. So these are some tips from a former Summoners War player. Guys, I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please smash the like button. please drop a comment. So I am a new content creator for Raid. I am not sure yet if I'm going to continue creating content from Raid, and your reactions to my videos will definitely help me decide if I'm going to continue. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.